Gary was talking about a combination of taking in information and certainly sending love and intention back. You focused in your talk, in your personal anecdotes, about sending out, about intention in terms of energy.
Okay, let's go back to what I said were the three branches of consciousness. The ascending branch, the surrender branch, and the descending branch. When I am sending out, it's because the spiritual network of the universe that's working with me is sending in. And I try to be careful not to send out much more than comes in. Otherwise, I disrupt my own structure and become less efficient in the overall process. So, in essence, we all have a spiritual network. It's a question of how coherent are we with it, and how effective and large is it, and how building energy structures within ourselves to handle this flow of energy. That's the job, to build ourselves at these subtle levels so that we can have huge fluxes of energy flow through. The example I would give you that just touches on that is if you take a laser crystal, all right, in nature, and we know that that's the kind of thing you pump it and you get an energy beam coming out. If you keep pumping up the energy, it will self-destruct. And the reason it self-destructs is because there are a whole variety of defects in that crystal of different size and character. Okay? And there is a level of energy that you can pump through there without them being significantly scattered by those defects so that it becomes self-destructive. But if you go past that level, then the biggest ones will produce destructive interference and you will self-destruct. If you process that so that you get rid of those, then you can go to a higher density, but then you've got next level of defects. Okay, I'm using that example because we humans are that way. We have a whole variety of defects in us at various kinds of structural levels, including psychological levels and so on. We need to get rid of those defects in our evolutionary path in order that we can pass energies through us of increasing densities without self-destructing. So that gets to what I think is the important center to work with first, which is the heart center, because the heart nourishes the body at all the various body levels, both the physical level, nourishes the cells, and the other levels. And so when you open that one first, then you are nourishing all the other cells, structures, which allow the other power stations to come online in a balanced way, rather than opening another center without the heart being open, because then you get a unbalanced load. That center might draw huge amounts of energies but can do terrible damage to you. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of answering. This lady, I think, has been from the beginning asking a question.
Hi. You've mentioned heart math, and
Yep.
I thought maybe, it might be useful to give some information about that. And another thing is that I was surprised you didn't mention meditation along with the
Well, I did.
Qigong and
Yeah.
yoga.
I did use meditation, if you remember, in order to reduce the noise. And if I didn't
okay.
say meditation, I certainly should have, because it is the key. It is the key technique for reducing noise in us. Yeah. Now, to the heart math one, I spent a number of years working with them on experimental techniques and working on the experiential technique. The experiential technique, in fact, it's to get that feeling state. And in Chapter 5, at the latter part of Chapter 5, I talk a lot about that and those experiments. You focus on your thymus gland, at least I do, on the heart. That's my entrance way to the heart, and really feel it. And remember a time when you were happy or joyful. And then you hold that sense of joy and appreciate either that or appreciate someone or something, and you hold that state of appreciation. And that's just simply the technique. What happens then is the heart goes into an ordered mode, and it then has various chemical consequences which are beneficial to our body, and it has consequences on things that we want to do with intention outside the body. let me say a little bit about the heart and how it functions. Generally, we have, in terms of the autonomic nervous system, the heart itself is autorhythmic in the sense that it beats on its own basically at 70 per minute. Down the branches of the autonomic nervous system, you have the sympathetic branch which speeds it up, and the fight or flight kind of thing, and the parasympathetic which cools it down, slows it down. So you get basically a rhythm which swings from maybe 30 to 90. And for most people, it's very chaotic. If you look at it, you take an electrocardiogram and you work out what the heart rate variability is, and you see a very noisy spectrum. But if you then decide in the midst of this trauma and chaos to do a freeze frame and just get out of that and just focus in on your heart, and you get into an ordered mode of the heart, you get this entrainment mode, and you see this chaotic rhythm in the heart rate variability spectrum, just comes to like a sine wave. Beautiful. Very peaceful. And you can do it very abruptly. And you can do it, unlike normal meditation, you can do it driving the car. You can do it while you work. You can do it anywhere, anytime. And so it's quite beneficial. And part of the beneficial nature is that it creates for you a whole set of beneficial chemicals. Salivary IgA goes up when you 5 minutes of appreciation for someone rather than 5 minutes of anger. 5 minutes of anger, basically the data that we have is that the IgA count, salivary IgA, goes down below baseline for something like at least 6 hours. Whereas with 5 minutes of appreciation, it goes up over that time period. And so it's beneficial. And the same thing, you find that you create more DHEA in the body, your energy source. You decrease the choline, etc. So there are a lot of beneficial chemical, hormonal changes that come from this sense of appreciation. We found, so you can imagine those sorts of things that are going on, and this is part of the way in which the heart then is nourishing the cells and the various chemical factories. We did the experiment with a dozen people. We took DNA in an aqueous solution and put it in a jar and would put it on a table maybe a couple of feet from an individual. We'd have these dozen, one at a time, to go into an ordered mode of the heart and then intend to influence that DNA. Now, before we started, what we did is we did ultraviolet spectroscopy of light, ultraviolet light, and we got a spectrum. And then we would have them do this freeze frame, 5 minutes of appreciation and intending during that period to either wind or unwind the DNA. And then after that 5 minutes, we could take that jar again and we could test it with ultraviolet spectroscopy. And we found in the cases for these individuals, indeed, at a distance outside the body, they were able to either wind or unwind DNA. And we found that there were two necessary and sufficient conditions for this. One is they had to be in an ordered mode of the heart, and they had to intend. If they were in an ordered mode of the heart and not intending, no change. If they were intending to all get out, but weren't in an ordered mode of the heart, nothing. Now, it doesn't mean that's the limits on everybody, but that's what we found in that experiment. And the more you become inner self-managed, the more it isn't 2 feet away, you can do it 2 miles away. So.
Bill, is another way to say that love and intention go together?
No, love and intention don't go together because intention is, well, let me say 2 things. One is, I think we are here to learn applied intentionality. But you can intend to make something happen at the damage to someone else. Okay? Hitler intended to make something which he thought was very beneficial, but a lot of collateral damage. Love, all right, I have an equation this way, and I'd like you to read it in your minds just ahead of you. Mass is like a chemical equation with arrows going to and from energy, and Einstein worked a lot on that, so we know about that. And now arrows going to and from consciousness, and arrows going to and from love. Love is the creative force that drives everything, as far as I'm concerned now. We're at the place where we don't understand much about consciousness, but we're working on that energy to consciousness link. And when we got that really locked, then I think we'll work on this other link. And again, it's not abrupt. Some people are already doing these things. So they're different.
One more question, if we may, then we're going to need to move on.
Could you say something about building coherence? Particularly, we've been talking about intention, over the course of the day. So building coherence in our intention.
Well, let me go. I won't say them, but I'll remind you of the example with the light bulb and the example with the permalloy. It is you put a field on yourself for whatever your intention is to change. If your intention is to gain cognitive awareness of this reciprocal space, then you do the experiment of trying to see, and you intend, and you're patient with yourself, and you intend, and you try, and you're patient with yourself, and you just keep going, and it eventually occurs. I'll give you a funny example which related to one of these learning lessons for me, which was that when we first moved to California, I was surprised one day when my wife said that I was kind of untidy in the bedroom, that I seemed to be kicking my underwear and my pants under the bed or leaving them lying around. And I didn't realize that I was doing that. I thought she must be kidding, but so I ignored it. And she lovingly reminded me 6 months later. And I thought, well, it can't be so. And I was able to carry on this charade for another 6 months. And she reminded me. And then I started saying, well, but it's so hard, and I'm doing all these important things. I'm working out this and I'm working out that. Gee, is it really that big a deal? But she was patient and she persisted. And finally, after a couple of years, I said, well, I really love this lady, and it's very important to her, so let me try. Well, I tried and I failed, and I tried and I failed to remember to pick up those stupid things and do it. And it took so much of my attention to do it. But I tried, and I did it. And after about 5 years, I could do it with no thought at all. Piece of cake. I'm as tidy as anybody in the bedroom. So, these are lifetime things, I mean, it just is the way it is. And
It may have been easier to just sing her a song.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. No, I had that one locked from the very beginning. It was okay. The toughest thing to do is change yourself.
And Bill, I want to thank you for a fabulous time.
You're welcome.
Thank
Great.
you so much.
Okay. My pleasure. Good.
As you may recall, earlier in these tapes, we introduced both Alan Handelsman and Thomas Fleming, and promised that later on, during the seminars, they would demonstrate their techniques for neutralizing substance sensitivities. Later on in this tape, that's what you're going to see. Their actual techniques as they deal with real people. But I want to suggest something, that there's actually a third method, and that is to use EFT itself. And so before Alan Handelsman and Thomas Fleming come on to share their techniques, we're going to have an interview with Sandy Radomski, who was one of our attendees, who reports using EFT a couple of times successfully to neutralize substance sensitivities. And I also want to point out that after the seminar concluded, and after Sandy and I talked, of course, I tried it myself on a couple of substances with various clients, and it worked like a charm. So anyway, you're going to see all three of these presentations, and here they are. Sandy, I've often been asked about energy toxins, and what do we do to take care of them and so on. And the next seminar, I'm going to have two people here who who have experienced high degrees of success rate. Thomas Fleming is one, and Alan Handelsman is another, with techniques that neutralize the effect of certain toxins on people. And you've had your own experience just using EFT, and I have not had that experience. I haven't even tried it. So why don't you tell us what it is?
Okay. Well, first of all, I've been working with the energy toxins for a long time now. After doing the TFT, I realized how many times the energy toxins got in the way. And so I figured I needed to find a way to neutralize that. And so I learned a work called Nambudripod's allergy elimination technique, and I do that, Nahoma does it, Dorothy does it, and probably some other people in here do that. And it's been very successful, wonderful. I love it. It's transformed my practice. It's been just a wonderful technique. But what I've done just in the last couple days, so this is just something to try for people to try out, is I've tried, instead of using the whole NAET technique, I've been using the EFT points. Because essentially NAET, the whole premise of it is holding the substance you're allergic to or thinking it so that it's in your energy field in some way, and then tapping on specific acupuncture points. So I reasoned, well, why not try the EFT acupuncture points? We're dealing with all the meridians. In NAT, you're dealing with meridians down the back. Why not try the EFT? And this came to me actually on Tuesday night, 10 o'clock at night. I'm in my cell phone driving back to my home in Philadelphia, and I'm calling my mother on the phone to just say I'm going to be leaving tomorrow morning and stuff. And she was telling me the doctor just told her she was allergic to her blood pressure medicine. She's had this cough for a long time. She wakes up with this mucus in her throat and all this stuff. And I've done some other things with her, but still, the mornings were still really bad. And the doctor said it's probably from this medicine. So here I'm on the cell phone, and there she is in Chicago. And I said, what am I going to do? So I had her hold the medicine, and I said, even though I have a bad reaction to this, I forgot the name of the medicine, had her say the name of the medicine, I deeply and profoundly accept myself. Did that 3 times. I had her tap my bad reaction to this medicine, my bad reaction to this medicine, did that. And, you know, I hoped it did something. Then I called her, I guess 2 days later, and she said it was 1,000% better. And then I didn't know if it held. And then when Gary said, will you talk about some of this, I called her just this morning, and I had told her do it every day. Persistence counts, you know.
Oh, you mean the tapping every day?
Yeah, do the tapping. Okay. And then she said, oh, I was going to do it, but I forgot what I was supposed to say. So she's only done it once, and it's all gone.
Can you imagine somebody not doing it after you ask them to? I mean, how rude.
Well, my mother does whatever, but she forgot. She forgot what to say. And it was so cute. I'm so glad that she forgot. Because with the one tapping, while I'm on the cell phone driving down the street, coughing, and then my mother's an accountant, so she looked up, she knew when she started taking the medicine and when her cough started, which was in 1992. She'd had this cough and the mucus in the morning. So with one tapping, a 5 or 6 year cough has gone away. So that's pretty exciting. You want? Oh, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to wait, you can ask a question.
Did you have her go from a certain test down to 0, or just did 1 round?
1 round because, no, I did 1 round, gamut point, and 1 round. Because she had no physical symptoms at that moment. I had no idea what she was going to be, you know, she wasn't experiencing that cough. It was mainly in the morning she'd wake up with all this mucus and be uncomfortable and all that. So she had no symptoms. So it was interesting.
I would have been inclined, since there were no symptoms, to do 4 or 5 rounds. But you're on the cell phone and so. But I've been inclined to step all over it, you know, just in case.
Well, okay, what in my mind, what I thought is I did 1 time for her, and I thought she was writing it down, and that she would do it a couple times a day. And with persistence, it might have a little effect. I had no idea this was going to happen. So the next day, so this is 2-person study here. The next day, I was flying here with Marilyn, and she started to have some reactions to some things on the plane, some of the cantaloupe and the muffins or something. She's clogged all up, and breathing got bad, and it was just hard to get at her back to do the NAT. So we were doing the EFT points, and it went away. The stuffiness went away. The difficulty breathing went away. Right?
We worked on several different things that we couldn't quite figure. You know, the cantaloupe didn't hold. The clearing on the cantaloupe didn't hold.
Okay, I didn't remember.
But the other things
and
to be able to breathe.
And the symptom went away. Yeah. Okay. And then the next day, she was feeling somewhat anxious in this room, and we were trying to figure out what it was, and we did some emotional work, and Gary did some things. But we started checking things out, and she was allergic to her blouse, and so she took that off. But the tablecloth here, was having a reaction to the detergent in the tablecloth, which isn't that uncommon.
And it's on all the linens in the hotel.
Right. Her sheets,
And you know for sure.
Right. We tested everything. So especially if you have anybody who, when they wake up in the morning, they especially have those reactions in the morning, it's often the detergent on their linens. So we checked that, and we checked. We had a napkin from the breakfast, and she was weak on that, and we did it, and it cleared up. She was also tested weak to the air in the room. Hard to, actually, in my practice, I have people bring in air from their offices. You take a bottle with some water, and you sit it out for a while, and then the stuff from the air gets in there, and then you muscle test. And so you treat people directly on the air, but we didn't have a way to do that. So we just had her think the air in the room. I actually wrote it on a piece of paper to help with the focus, and she held that. And we cleared you on the air in the room doing this technique. And then I went to take a shower, and we also had found out that she was weak on all the machinery. A lot of people have a reaction to a lot of electromagnetic things that are going on in here right now. And so she did it for herself on the electromagnetic. So she did it thinking of the machines in the room, and she cleared it. So I don't know how long these effects will be. I don't know how persistent, but it's something to play with. I guess I do have a strong feeling that at least using the EFT with the energy toxins, you're going to give enough space where your body's not reacting to that toxin, so that you have the window of opportunity to do your EFT, which is what, when Callahan says we can't do it because of the energy toxin, you need that little window of opportunity. And I think for that, we know this will work. I don't know over time.
Okay. All right, good.
Okay. Do you want?
Yeah, one question over here, because we have some other things we need to get done today, because we have a busy day today.
I just wanted to share that I've been working on allergies for myself, and I noticed a couple of things. One is that before I take the thing I know I'm allergic to it, the reaction starts. And so I noticed that there's a fear, there's a whole thing going on. There are other aspects in there besides that people might want to work on if they're doing that.
I need to make one more comment, and I'll be short. When I talked to my mom this morning, I do want to make one reservation, because Dr. Debbie's work really, you do things in a specific order so you don't overstress the body. TAPAS doesn't do that. But after I did the tapping with my mom over the phone, she said she did have to lay down. She felt a little weird. And that was probably a big allergy. She's been coughing for 6 years. So just to be aware of that. I don't know what that means.
You may want to sneak up on what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and you may want to do some other things to build the system before you do the big one.
All right, great.
Okay.
We have a little hand for
Thank you.
When you take your break, you'll have an option. You can either go take your break, okay, or you can't. Alan Handelsman will be up here, and we'll give him the microphone for a second, would you? And for those who wish, Alan Handelsman will be here and describe what you're going to do.
Okay, what I will do is hopefully have a volunteer, and we'll test either a pager or a phone or something that they have, and hopefully it'll be toxic for them, and then we'll tune it. So I'll give a demonstration about tuning it, how to do it, and then we'll test again and see how it goes.
Go back here to Corey.
I just wanted to say that I bought one of the cards from Alan and brought it home last night and treated myself for red wine and had some and woke up without a headache. But I did a double-blind study with my children last night and the red wine, and I put the red wine on either a credit card or the card, and I was the only one who knew. And my wife then muscle tested them, and I put it on the credit card twice where nobody could see, and my daughter tested weak, as did my son, until I put it on your card, and then they tested strong. So I came home telling my wife that yet another circuits have been blown about what to believe.
Okay, well, with that in mind, it's now 10:08, so we're going to make it get back here at 10:30. So that gives you 22 minutes up here, Ellen.
Turn
Okay, so first,
into a
We're going to test. Say, my name is Roxanne.
My name is Roxanne.
My name is Judy.
My name is Judy.
Okay, I have to remember because I got so many things
Good.
we have to do.
Oh, we can edit this part. Roxanne.
Roxanne.
Judy.
Judy.
There it goes. Feel it? Let it go. Keep your eyes open. Okay. Say yes.
Yes.
And say no.
No.
Good. Okay. What I'm doing is just getting a feel for what's a yes, what's a no.
It's certainly different from what you see other people do.
Oh, we need a
Muscle
microphone.
testing. Okay.
Okay. It's a different form of muscle testing. It's more subtle. If I do a lot of muscle testing in sometimes when I'm working, and to hold on for an hour over and over, it gets kind of tough. So we do a very subtle thing. And if you want to, if you put your arms out and think of something that makes you very happy, and hold your arms like with the least amount of effort, like almost like they're floating on water. And now think of something that makes you unhappy or upset, and notice that your arms get heavy. That's the difference, okay? It's the same thing if somebody gives you bad news and your knees get weak, same deal, same deal. Okay, so now, we're testing Roxanne in the clear, and she's strong. Now we're going to put her pager on. Why don't you we should test for that. We'll do that. The microphone. Okay, so what we'll do is just think of the microphone now on your belt. That's okay. She wants to be heard. Now let's see if she wants to be paged. So put that on. Okay. Pager. That's okay too. Right? Okay. Cell phone.
Turn it on?
It's on? Okay. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Cell phone. There it goes. Oh, good. Thank you. So here's how to tune with the card.
Ellen, can we have somebody else test her too? Before
That's
I test her as well?
yeah, sure. Who wants to test? Come on up. So let's test without first.
Okay, so if you, without it?
Yeah, it's without it now.
My name, what's your name?
Roxanne.
Should we do it the other way for this? Okay, my name is Roxanne.
My name is Roxanne.
My name is Mary.
My name is Mary.
Okay.
Without the cell phone? Does she have to, is she tuning into not having the cell phone?
No, just in the clear.
In the clear. Okay.
She's okay.
Yeah.
Now hold it. You can just hold it in your right hand. See? Now that's a pretty unsubtle way of doing it, and it shows up better in demonstrations like this. Okay, so here's the deal. There's lots of different ways to use the card. If you forget, first of all, there's some directions on here. If you forget, really all you have to do is place it on there and leave it there for 30 seconds. What I'm going to do here is, and I have a lot of trouble thinking of the 3 different planes. Sometimes I get confused. So I make believe this is a house, and I hold it in front of the front door like this for about 10 to 15 seconds. Most of the time when I'm doing this, my mental state is not concentration. It's not intention or concentrated intention. It's counting to 15. So I know that I'm done. The card is actually doing the work. The intention has been in the card, implanted in the card, programmed in the card energetically. So sometimes if you're under stress and you're too stressed to go through a lot of tapping or go through whatever it is that you ordinarily go through, if you just do this or do this, it's easy to do because you don't have to be doing anything other than holding the card. Then I go in the side door back here, and I do this 10 to 15 seconds, or if I'm in front of a group till I stop talking. And then, now I think it's done now because I got the signal. But what I do, when I first started doing this, I had no idea if it was done or not.
What signal did you get?
I took a deep breath. Yeah, and I think that was it. But I'm feeling something here too, so who knows? Okay, but if you do 10 or 15 seconds on those 3 planes, front door, whatever feels right. Yeah, absolutely. If you have pains what I found is the first person I worked with was my mom, and she had a shoulder pain, and if you can fix your mother, you can fix anybody. Right? You mean I'm not the only one? So I just said, here, just hold it here. And it, and she had gone to a couple doctors, and I think was going to an orthopedist the next week or something. Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And she said it's gone.
So you don't hold it in back of it, you hold it on top of it, in front of it, on the side of it.
And it's because the front and the back are the same plane, basically. So there's just three different planes. So, and if I don't do the house, I can't figure out which ones I'm doing. So, why don't you test, Marty? No, not in my experience. It doesn't.
Explain about the house again.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Yeah, very strong.
And strong, very strong. I've had results last at least a year. Now, I've had some where somebody said, well, the watch didn't affect, the person for about a week and a half, and then we did it again and it was okay again. So my feeling is, if you're getting back surgery and it costs you $30,000 and 8 weeks of pain, it better work for a long time. It better work forever. But for the amount of money I'm charging and for the amount of time it takes to do it, it's like we all take aspirin at times for a headache, and we know that the aspirin isn't going to last forever, but that doesn't stop us from taking it because it's so easy to do. So, but I've had results well over a year. About the house, again, doing the card, you have an object, okay? And you want to do, if you do 3 planes, you basically have it covered, okay? Even though you can just hold it anywhere for 30 seconds, and that will probably do it as well. But when you're showing people, that's too simple, so you have to find something that they're going to believe. Oh, okay. So you approach it, the object is you approach a house. This is what I do. You don't have to, but I do it because otherwise I get confused. So I walk in the front door, and I hold the card up in the front door. And I do that 10 to 15 seconds. I walk in the side door, and I hold that for 15 seconds. Then they throw me out the side door, and I go up on the roof. And I hold that 10 to 15 seconds. Question?
Does the card wear out over time?
It's guaranteed for a year. As I hopefully sell more and more, I would like to program in obsolescence so that I have a lifetime contract with somebody. I really don't know how long it's going to last, but since the effects have lasted over a year, I would assume that this is going to last at least a year.
After the seminar, many people took Alan's resonance tuning device home and used it for themselves personally. They used it in their practice, and they began putting testimonials out on our EFT email forum. And while there were numerous such testimonials, I thought I would read 3 to you just for perspective. The first one comes from Marla Brucker, and Marla reports as follows. I decided to experiment and see how well it worked for pain. I had torn a tendon in my arm, and the chronic discomfort, pain, and swelling had been lingering for over 2 months. After arriving back from San Francisco, I began using it. Each time I would rest it directly on my arm, and within 5 minutes the swelling had decreased and the pain subsided. I had the freedom of mobility returned to me. Also, Kate Sorensen, who had a sensitivity to wheat, wrote this. In using your wondrous gadgets, so far I've noticed that I don't get that tired feeling that I used to get when I ate wheat, or even thought about eating wheat products. I started out treating rolls at the seminar lunches, and have used it several times since then. And finally, I'll read this from Susan Parker. She says this. Well, I'm sitting in front of my computer after having tuned it last night and this afternoon. I did it on a whim last night and actually didn't use it until this morning. What caught my attention was that for the first time since I've been using a computer, I feel perfectly calm, at peace, and I'm not experiencing any nervous energy. It's weird. Good, but weird. The other thing I've noticed is that when I've used the tuner, my cats become very snuggly and want to curl up in my arms, much the same as when I'm doing a reading, meditating, or doing energy work with someone. As I mentioned, these are just 3 of the many testimonials we received, but I did want to share them with you.
So
So this is TAT, Tapas Acupressure Technique. And we don't have too long because we've got a short break. But both of these two told me that they've got sensitivities or allergies to petrochemicals. Would you say that too? You've got it to perfume and perfume.
Perfume and gasoline.
Okay, so that's okay.
Detergents.
Yes.
Okay, you guys, will you share the mic when you want to talk? Okay.
Sure.
So here's, I'm just going to do it because I can't, because we have to do it kind of fast. And then when we do it again on another break, like lunch maybe, then I'll talk more about it. But the first thing I do is I check on myself, can we work on this right now? And I just use this for my muscle test. I use smooth and sticky. So can we work on this for you right now? I'm just asking my body, yes. And can we work on it for you? Yes. Okay. So here's the first thing you do. You are going to touch. These are my favorite points. We all got our favorites. So it's here with your thumb. You use your thumb and your fourth finger, your ring finger, here. And she's, by the way, very ill from the perfume that I'm wearing, so I'm hoping this is going to help. Okay, so it's these points, and you use your middle finger, yeah, there, right. And it's no pressure at all. It's just a light touch. And your other hand, so I'll hold this for you. Okay for me to set this down? How about, will you hold it? Oh, you're here. Okay, thanks. Okay, and then your other hand is at the base of your skull, so that your thumb is just above your neck, like around where that hole is, and this edge is about at the right here. Okay, so what I want you two to do is put your attention on petrochemicals, perfumes, and do it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe up to 4 minutes. Just sit with your attention on that problem for you, and petrochemicals, perfumes. Just be with it while you're in this pose. You may have a sense of things getting worse. Allow that to happen. Just be there with it and keep your attention on you and petrochemicals. Let me make this a little clearer, Larry. The point you're touching so that your fingers are right at the top edge of your eyes. It's just above your tear duct, actually. So your fingers, see how mine are touching the upper corner of my eye? Mm-hmm. That's where it is. Move your hand a sec. Right in there. It sort of feels like there's a tunnel there. That's urinary bladder 1 in Chinese medicine. So yeah. And my intent is I'm holding you, the thought of you and petrochemicals, and I always pray for your healing too. So my prayer is usually silent, but basically it's, God, would you heal this problem for these people?
S'il vous plaît.
Yeah. Okay, so put your hands down. I just want to check in with you two and see what's happening. So we need the mic. So what happened for you doing that?
Well, I was imagining it, and at first it was very noxious for me to think about it. It made me kind of grimace a little. Doesn't seem to have that much impact now. as it did. I'm hoping it'd be gone. That'd be wonderful. It's been a real problem for a long, long time.
How long is a long time?
Oh, I think probably most of my life that I know of, and I've not been able to tolerate my wife's perfume, and that's a problem for her, and all of that.
Right.
And gasoline and things like that.
Okay. Can you all hear?
Detergents.
Okay.
All of those things, just awful.
Oh, yeah, detergents also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you felt like it was less noxious.
Well, I think so. And like my clients say, maybe it's just because I was distracted by all this, but I'm hoping it wasn't.
We're just to say. Okay, thanks. How'd it go for you?
Well, what was happening for me mainly, I was remembering different times when I was affected. I was just kind of in that process.
Yeah, I did too.
I wasn't noticing. I'm noticing the memory and some of the feeling of it, although I'm not having the intense feeling, but I wasn't having the intense feeling without actually smelling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was pumping gas, and I was in the car after my wife, going out with my wife when she just put her perfume on in the car, and it's just so close and noxious. All those.
Okay. Oh, you hold that. I've got mine.
So
okay. So then what I do is I just ask your body, would it help to do that step some more? No. Would it help for you to do it some more? No. Okay, so what we do then is step 2. I ask your body, would it help to do step 2, which I'll explain in a minute? Yes. And would it help you? Yes. Okay, so step 2 is you just put your attention on the thought, I can have an okay relationship with petrochemicals. So you do the same pose for about a minute with that thought. It's something like, petrochemicals and me, we can be fine. Or I can have a normal relationship with them and they won't make me sick. Whatever those kind of things resonates with you. So you do that for about a minute or so, and minute and a half, until you feel a shift. Then you can put your hands down and let me know. Meanwhile, as a helper over here, I have my attention on each of them, and I'm doing the testing on myself. When is this step done? This one's done, and this one a little more. So. Or you can have a thought like, this stuff doesn't make me sick. This stuff, petrochemicals are okay. I can live with petrochemicals and be okay.
I'm enjoying them.
Okay, I want to check in and hear some from these guys. Okay, we'll take a question. You can enjoy it some more. You too.
I just wanted to know what signals to you, yes or no, sticky or smooth. I needed further clarification on that, if you could.
Sure. I rub my index finger lightly across my thumbnail toward my pinky, so it's kind of like plucking a single-stringed instrument really softly. So that's your drone. That's my yes. That's my everything's flowing, it's all okay. And so then when something's sticky, it'll be like thud, thud. It would be like a staccato instead of a soft strum. It sort of feels like that. So I just set that up. I just ask my body to give me those signals, and a smooth is a yes, the energy's flowing fine, no problem, and a sticky is problem or energy disturbance, or no. Okay, let's hear from Danielle and Larry. Danielle?
Well, I actually experienced a physical sense of heat.
Anything else?
I noticed how difficult it is to actually believe the possibility that I would not be affected.
Could you all hear?
But I'm hopeful that that's the case.
Okay, for my part, I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm just asking you to let that thought exist while you're doing this pose. That's all.
Yeah.
So where was the heat?
Went through my entire body.
Okay.
Mostly in my upper torso, up my back and through my head.
Okay, thank you.
And I do feel a little clearer. I do feel a little clearer than I did.
What does clearer mean? Fuzzy-headed?
Yeah, not fuzzy-headed, not tearful, not scared.
Yeah. For my part, when you looked at me and said, "Are you wearing natural essences?" or whatever you said, it was like it was this scared animal being attacked kind of feeling.
Well, that is the feeling
I know.
because of what will ensue.
Right.
What has ensued in the past.
So I understand that. So your face isn't looking like that. I can tell you from here.
Something definitely shifted.
And how about you?
I'm much more relaxed. My mood went up. And I was smiling some of the time in the second part. So feels lots better, and I'm much more relaxed about the whole idea of the petrochemicals. So it doesn't disturb me to even think about or imagine myself smelling them right now.
Great. Okay, thanks. Now I'm going to ask the same thing. Would it help you to do more of that second step we just did? Sticky. No. Would it help you? No. Okay. Then I'm asking each of your bodies, do we need to do the third step? Do we need to for you? No. Do we need to for you? No. Okay. The third step is just being open to the origins wherever this started for you. And then would it help to do the fourth step for you? Yes. Would it help for you? No. So you can just watch or you can do it. So the fourth step is and you can do it if you just feel like it, because just because, no, it can't hurt.
She wants to be rid of it.
Yeah, so you just do it just because, okay? So the fourth step is you're open to wherever in life has resonated with this problem for you, and also wherever in your body has resonated to this problem. So it's the location of the problem for you. Maybe at the gas station, or just even looking at a bottle of perfume, you start to go, oh God. Or you go into a crowded room and you don't know if somebody's going to be wearing perfume in there.
3 old ladies pass by and they put so much on because they can't smell it as much. It
right.
drives me nuts.
So there's places out in life where it happens, and then there's places in your body that you and I don't know where they are, but maybe it makes you nauseous.
Curls my capillaries and makes my eyes burn.
Okay, and there might be 10 other things going on that we don't know or see or feel. Okay, so you're just open to that wherever it's been a problem, and you do this for about a minute, and you too. A minute or two till you feel like it's done.
Just being open to it?
Yeah, without knowing where it is. You know some, like the 3 little old ladies, but all of the places in life that it's been a disturbance, and also within your body where it has been disturbed. Yeah. Light's coming out. Light is coming out of her face. You see that?
Yeah.
Just
I know. I can definitely feel the difference. It's a very strong.
Okay, so can we have the mic? I'm going to let you be in that till you feel done, and because Gary wants to start. So you say what happened, how you're feeling, and what happened for you.
Well, the difference that I feel now is that I feel very present, very clear, very happy, very open, and the difference is stunning. And that's why it's always so frightening to me, because I can feel it. Previously, when it would happen, it would feel as though a dark cloud descended.
Right.
So,
and I haven't washed my perfume off.
Yeah.
So, okay, good test.
Thank you.
Sure. Cheers. You look great. Okay. Okay, and you're done. Okay, so you say what you have to say.
Well, I feel a lot better. I feel comfortable about it, and it doesn't seem to have any negative impact on me at all to think about any of those situations or to anticipate them or anything. So,
great.
Free. I feel quite free of it. I certainly hope it'll be true. My wife will be thrilled. She doesn't believe in any of this stuff, so if this works, she'll be a believer.
Okay, so go home tonight,
Especially if
smell
I
your
show her on
wife's
the film.
perfume, and
Yes.
tell me tomorrow.
Yes. Well, no, I won't see her tonight.
Well, somebody's perfume.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'll hug a lot of ladies.
I hug a lot of ladies. Okay, thank you. Cheers. Yeah.
I was talking with Tapas, who was up here, doing work with two people at one time, and I remember discussing on the telephone with her about maybe. Well, I said, Tapas, could you do this with? Because he used to do it one-on-one. Okay, could you do it with 5 people at a time or 10 or something? He says, I don't know. I never tried. We tried. We got for two on one, right? We have our own. It's interesting. We need to break our own limits sometimes because some of us are going to have some difficulty with surrogate muscle testing, with using our own intuition for diagnosis because we haven't done it before, which means we're going to have to break through our own existing beliefs. And that's true with almost anything we do, of course. I'm hoping to give you the evidence to give you the motivation to break through those beliefs. Just as with Alan Handelsman, we received many email testimonials regarding Tapas's work as well. And I was going to spend a little time with one of those for you because of its rather dramatic effect, and it's a fairly long one. I'm only going to read a part of it for you. From Larry Nims, who you just saw Tapas work with, on the session on film. Larry had a very strong and lifelong sensitivity to petrochemicals of all kinds, including perfume. I mean, he could not even let his wife wear perfume without having a very strong reaction to it. And if he walked into a room where other women were wearing perfume, he had difficulty even staying around in the room. But anyway, he writes this testimonial, and I'm going to read a couple of parts for you. The first part just gives you an idea of the severity, of his problem, and it goes like this. Pumping gas was always an unpleasant experience. Turpentine was terrible. Fingernail polish, yuck. Polish remover, double yuck. I just could not handle using kitchen sink cleansers. The list of noxious things seemed endless, and they were everywhere. And then, of course, he did the session with Tapas, which you just saw. And by the way, he has done nothing else since then to neutralize these substances. They have apparently been neutralized, as you will hear from this paragraph. Well, after Tapas treated me with her TAT process, all of these things have been neutralized. I still do not care for them. I still think they are not fit for human consumption, but they don't curl my capillaries anymore at all. I can breathe them close up and personal without the negative reactions I always had before. I pumped gas just today, and I was able to breathe the fumes right down by the hose nozzle. I just had to try it, with no discomfort. Amazing.